Amalfi, but kind of right outside. And then Sardinia was sailing.
Oh my gosh, I bet it was so amazing.
Yeah, it was really awesome. It was
Oh,
beautiful.
good.
It was cold though. It was
Really?
like way colder. It's always like hot is always the issue. Like in Greece, Scott, it was so freaking hot. I mean, now it seems like a distant memory, but it's hot. And people, that's the biggest complaint, like of like, oh, it's so hot. I can't sleep. It's so hot. I can't anything. It's so hot. But like this time it was like, ooh, chilly. So it was different. Mhm. Hi, Barb.
Hey, good to have you back. Glad you had a good trip overall,
Yeah.
even with the heat.
Yeah. Even with the cold, it wasn't hot.
Except in Greece.
Yes. But Greece was hot when Scott went like 2 years ago sailing.
Yes, very hot.
Was it 2 years ago? Okay, anyway. Yeah, Europe is usually so hot. But I also feel like when I got back here, it was nice and cool. And then now it's hot. Well, kind of like flipped a switch and went hot. But today's nice, actually. I don't know. Anyway, weather. Okay, we're doing core, I guess, you guys. Let's
Mhm.
let's get her
That'll,
done.
that'll get us heated up.
Yeah, right. I've missed it. I need it. I need this class. I decided. Okay.
Good.
Good for me. Makes me do the thing. In my in-person classes, I mostly just walk around, so I like doing it. Okay, I'm gonna mute you guys. We'll do it. Thanks for coming back. Okay. Core, yippee. Let's grab. Well, never mind. Let's just not use props. You can use props if you want, but I won't. I won't cue with anything in particular, and just come all the way down onto your back. And then once you're down on your back, might feel nice to just move or stretch a little. So maybe you want to take a full body stretch. Maybe you want to hug your knees in. Maybe you just want to kind of rock your hips a little bit side to side. So anything that feels good, anything that feels interesting. And then constructive rest pose. So come into feet on the ground, knees bent, feet a little bit wider than your hips, and let your knees just kind of fall in. So maybe they touch, maybe they don't. And bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Close your eyes. And let's take 3 big, huge, intentional breaths together. So next time you inhale, fill up as big as you can. Hold at the top in fullness. Maybe even take an extra little sip. And then open your mouth and big sigh. Let it out. Ha. And then do that a couple more times. So inhale, fill up. Take a moment. Pause. Hold. See if you can find that extra little teaspoon more. And sigh it out when you're ready. And then last one, inhale, fill up. Hold. 2 extra sips this time. And sigh it out your mouth. And then start to drop into your ujjayi breath. So lips seal in and out through your nose by way of the back of your throat. Create that gentle whisper noise as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And then start to switch up your feet. So start to walk your feet in and let your knees open up. So feet together, knees apart, Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined cobbler's pose. And take a few breaths here now, just resting, and as much as you can, kind of let gravity take hold. So don't use your muscles to hold your knees up, but let gravity just kind of pull down. And even if your knees shake a little bit, that's okay. Whatever there is to feel, just notice it. Hi, Ruby. And then if you want to, you can keep resting here, you guys. But invitation to just start to engage your right butt cheek, squeeze it, and then release it. So a few times, just do that. Squeeze your right butt cheek, and then release. Squeeze it, and then release it. Squeeze, release. Do that about 3 more times or so. And then let it go, just relax again. And if you have pain in your low back here at all, scoot your feet a little further forward, further away from your upper body. And then we'll do the same thing just with our left glute, our left butt cheek. So squeeze, squeeze, squeeze that muscle and then let it go. So you might feel a little rocking in your pelvis. You might feel a little shaking as you engage your glute. Might feel difficult to engage just one. So just noticing here whatever there is to notice. Squeeze, squeeze, release. About 3 more times. And then let it go. Relax for a moment. And last, invitation to lift. So you're going to squeeze and lift your butt off the ground. So both butt cheeks now are squeezing, your butt is lifting. Hold here for a moment. And imagine you're trying to press your knees down and lift your hips up. Press your heels as much as you can firmly into one another. Hands can do whatever you want. So maybe they're still on your belly and your heart. Maybe you extend them out to your sides. Squeeze your glutes, lift your hips, press your heels. Take one more inhale, lift, 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 squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then let it go, lower down. Good job, you guys. Lift your knees up. Hug your knees in and take a little rock. Just gently rock side to side. Maybe you even lift your head up and wrap your forearms around your shins as you give yourself a big squeeze. Eventually set your feet on the ground with your knees bent for a moment. And we're gonna come into a bridge pose. So make sure your heels and your ankles are straight down from your knees. Arms down by your sides. You should be able to graze the backs of your heels with your middle fingers. All of your toes face directly forward. Exhale, pull your belly button down, scoop your tailbone up, and then inhale, lift your spine up 1 vertebra at a time. Once you get to the top of your bridge, if you would like, you can work your shoulders underneath you, and maybe even interlace your fingers underneath you or take robot arms. Hug in with your inner thighs, press down through your heels and the inner edges of your feet. Press down through the back of your head. Breathe all the way down into your belly. Take about 2 or 3 more, just like this. And then if your shoulders are underneath you, work them out from under you. And slowly, I even like to reach my arms up. Slowly lower your spine down 1 vertebra at a time. Good job. And then slowly, maybe even 1 at a time, extend your legs straight up towards the sky. Bring your arms out to a T shape or goalpost shape. So resting on the ground now. So legs extend straight up. Squeeze your legs together and bend your knees as as much as you need to so this doesn't hurt. So you don't want it to pull on your low back. So you can see my knees are pretty bent because my hamstrings are very tight. So bend your knees if needed. If you can't get your legs really straight and squeeze your quad muscles, go for it. So from here, take a big inhale. And then as you exhale, just move your legs to the right about 12 inches, but that's it. So that's it, 12 inches, hold there. So your left hip is now lifting up, but the back of your left shoulder is still down. Now we're going to do that again about 12 inches more to the right and hold there. Squeeze your legs together. If it becomes too much, bend your knees a lot. Hold, back of your left shoulder is pressing down. And then one more time, so you can go 12 more inches. You're hovering above the ground, backs of your shoulders are rooted. Use your strong core to hold your legs up. Breathe. Try not to strain through your face. Take one more round of breath, hold, squeeze your legs together, activate your feet, and then slowly back to center. From center, take a moment, maybe kind of move your hips side to side or even kick your legs, shake them. And then we're going to go to the other side. So just like we did before, but this time to the left, move your legs about 12 inches over to your left. Backs of your shoulders are rooted, but your right hip is now lifting up. Squeeze your legs together like you've got a mermaid tail. Now, 12 more inches to the left, a little bit further. Hold there, breathe there, squeeze your legs, activate your feet, toes. And then one more time, one more notch over to the left, about 12 more inches, so your legs are hovering. Backs of your shoulders are rooting, legs are squeezing together, and feel your strong core. Breathe. Try not to strain through your face. One last round. And then ever so slowly bring your legs back up. Keep them extending up for just a little bit longer. Reach your arms up. Now, squeeze your legs together. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, try to touch your toes with your fingers. So lift your upper body, lift your shoulder blades. Now draw your belly down towards the ground. Draw your belly button down. See if you can lift your toes even higher. So tuck your tailbone, reach your toes higher. Reach your fingers higher. Draw your belly button towards the ground. Lift higher, and release it all. Woo! Feet together, knees apart. Tee out your arms or even reach your arms overhead. And if it would feel good, you can kind of gently bounce your knees up and down. You can relax in this position, feet together, knees apart, or just like we did before, you can lift your hips, or I should say lift your butt, squeeze your outer glutes, and this will help release your hip flexors, those muscles in the front of your hips. Squeeze your glutes, lift your hips, knees down, hips up. One last big deep breath. And let it go. Okay, you guys, good job. Bring your knees up and hug your knees in. Gently rock from side to side. All right, however you want to, come to your belly. So I'm literally just gonna roll over onto my belly, but if you wanna be facing the other direction, get there however you need to. And then once you're on your belly, we're just going to take a Spider-Man cobra. So bring your hands out nice and wide. Up on your fingertips, inhale, lift your heart. And then exhale, a little twist to your right side, dip your left shoulder down. Inhale, back to center, lift your heart. Other side, exhale, twist. Couple more, side to side at your own pace. Stretch your front body. Good, and then eventually we'll come back to center. Stay there as long as you want to. When you're ready, find your way back into a child's pose. So just sitting back, hips to your heels, forehead to your mat. Knees can be wide or together or somewhere in between. Maybe you kind of sway your hips a little bit or roll your forehead side to side a little bit. From your child's pose, start to find your way into a downward facing dog. So come through hands and knees and then lift your hips, take them up and back. Walk out your dog for a moment. So find lots of length through your spine, your side bodies. You can work your legs straight or you can keep a big bend in your knees. Strong hands on the ground, strong shoulders. Feel your strong core as well, so that lift that comes from your center that lifts you out of your upper body. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, set your knees back down and sit back into child's pose. We're gonna start a little flow. Inhale, rise up and find a cow posture, so spinal extension. Exhale, curl into your cat posture, spinal flexion. And then come back to a happy medium, neutral spine, tuck your toes, inhale, down dog, lift your hips high. Exhale, set your knees on the ground, child's pose. Exhale all the way to emptiness as you sit back. Inhale again, cow pose, spinal extension, lift your heart, lift your tailbone. Exhale, round, chin to chest, draw your belly button in and up, push the ground away. Come to a neutral spine position, tuck your toes, lift your hips, down dog, inhale. And then exhale, knees down, child's pose it out, all the way to empty. Once more, just like that, inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, tabletop. Bring your knees about hips width distance apart or a little bit wider. And then we're moving into thread the needle, but we're not going to thread it immediately. So take your right arm out and up. Inhale here. Exhale, thread your right arm underneath, but keep your right shoulder hovering. So reach as far as you can, hover above the ground. Inhale, unthread, reach back up. Two more like that. Exhale, reach underneath, hover above the ground all the way to empty. Inhale, open. Now, last one. Exhale, thread your right arm through. Reach as far as you can, empty out, then gently set your shoulder and your head down. Any way you want to work this pose, about 3 to 5 deep breaths. If you do have your left hand lifted, bring your left hand back down. And then on an inhalation, unthread your right arm, reach it all the way up. And right hand down. Downward facing dog. And then from your down dog, feet nice and wide. So mat width distance apart. If you want, you can walk your feet in just the slightest bit, like an inch or so, not much. We're taking our right hand back to grab our outer left ankle. Right hand, outer left ankle. If that feels like too much, grab the back of your calf or the back of your knee. Try not to pull too hard on the back of your knee if that's where you grab. But you can use your hand as gentle leverage to twist and gaze under your left armpit. Keep your left hand rooted, your left shoulder strong. Lift your hips really high. Feel your strong core, big deep breaths. Good job, friends. And then very bottom of your next exhale, regular down dog. Keep your feet wide. Walk your feet, walk your hands all the way back. So you'll come into a forward fold at the back of your mat, slightly wide-legged. So your feet are still about mat width distance apart. All of your toes face forward. Inhale, bend your knees and stick your butt out. Bring your fingertips to the ground. So it's almost like you're a football player ready to hike the ball back behind you. So fingertips on the ground. Rather than gazing forward and cranking your neck, lengthen through the back of your neck. Feel the weight in your heels. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, lift your hips up, crown of your head down, forward fold. So fold deeply. Inhale, come back into that position. Bend your knees, stick your butt out, fingertips down, crown forward, and exhale, fold. Few more, back and forth. Inhale, lengthen your spine, bend your knees, weight in your heels. Exhale, fold. Lift your butt as high as possible. Last couple. Inhale. And fold as you exhale. Last one. Fold. From your fold, let your arms hang and roll up really, really, really slow. Your feet can stay wide. And then after you've rolled all the way up, roll back down really, really, really slow. So chin to chest. Roll down slowly, little bend in your knees. Once you're back in your forward fold, you rolled down as far as possible. Come back into that funky position with your butt sticking out, your knees bent, fingertips on the ground. And then from that position, start to crawl your fingertips forward until you are in a plank position. So plank position. Shoulders over wrists. You can walk your feet in if you don't like having your feet out wide here, no big deal. You can bring your knees down if you want. Take an inhale, push the ground away. Exhale, lower slowly. Back bend of your choice this time. I'm going to go for a Sphinx pose. You can take whatever you want. Give yourself at least a couple breaths. And then settle back into a child's pose as you're ready. You can choose knees wide, knees together, somewhere in between. So child's pose ought to feel somewhat good. If it doesn't feel good, then play around. What could you do to make it feel better for your own body? All right, back into our little micro flow. Next time you inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, down dog. Tuck your toes, take your hips back and up as you lengthen. And exhale, child's pose. Gently set your knees down, sit back, empty out. Inhale, cow, spinal extension, like a back bend. Exhale, spinal flexion, curl in, round, contract. And then find neutral spine as you tuck your toes under and take your hips back and up, downward facing dog. And with your exhale, child's pose it out. We'll do one more round like that, moving meditation. Inhale, cow. You can try different things. You can make fists with your hands, come up to fingertips. Exhale, round. Cat. Down dog with your in-breath. Find your way back and up. And then as you let all that air out, sit back into your child's pose. Come down. Tabletop. Make sure your knees are at least hips width distance apart or a little bit wider. We're getting ready to thread the needle with our left arm. So left arm out and up, breathe in. Exhale, thread your left arm through, but don't come down to rest yet. So just reach as far as you can. Use your strong oblique muscles. Inhale, unthread. Reach up, open. Exhale, underneath. Reach, 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 empty out, and then inhale, out and up again. Last one, exhale, thread it through, reach as far as possible, reach, and then rest, shoulder and head down. Work it in your own way, about 3 to 5 deep breaths. See if you can really breathe into your back body and back of your heart space. Then if you do happen to have your right hand on the ground, or excuse me, lifted, set it back on the ground. On an inhale, unthread your left arm, reach it out and up. And then exhale, left hand down. Downward facing dog. From down dog, walk your feet out wide again. Maybe just slightly forward, not a lot. So the foundation of this pose should still feel like it's in your hands. Take your left hand back to grab the outside of right ankle. That's too much, back of calf or back of knee. Use gentle leverage to work the twist. Gaze underneath your right armpit. Right shoulder is strong. Right hand is strong. Your core is engaged, lifting both of your hips up and back. If you wanted to get super crazy here, some people try to lift their left leg up like a three-legged dog. I guess it's at this point like a two-legged dog. All right, take one last breath. And then bring your left hand back to the ground. Walk your hands back so your feet can stay wide as you walk your hands back to your feet and come into a forward fold again at the back of your yoga mat. From your forward fold, feet wide, same thing we did before. Inhale, bend your knees, stick your butt out, fingertips down. Almost like you're a football player, hiking the ball behind you. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend your knees, stick your butt out, weight in your heels, lengthen the back of your neck. Exhale, fold, lift your hips high, all the way to empty. Inhale, couple more, back and forth. Exhale, use your core to lift your hips. Last one. And then this time, fold, let your arms hang heavy, roll it all the way up. Once you have rolled all the way up, head stacks over your spine, so everything is aligned now. Bring your feet in so they're about hips width distance, and bring your hands behind you, like you're about to stick them into your back pockets. Or if this bothers your wrists, you can make fists. You could also make, you could wrap your fingers around your waist, so thumbs and fingers out. Roll your shoulders back and down and point your elbows back. Press your hips forward as you hug in with your inner thighs. And the puff of your chest. See if you can start to open up into a back bend. So press your hips forward, hug in with inner thighs, lift your heart and feel your back strength. Feel your back muscles hug around your spine. Try not to let your head collapse back. Take one more huge breath. Try to lead with your heart rather than your head to come back up. So heart leads, head follows. Bend your knees, bring your hands to your thighs, and then take some cat-cows from here. So spinal flexion and spinal extension back and forth, or if it feels good, maybe you stay in one and kind of move your hips side to side. So for example, you might stay in spinal flexion with your spine round and kind of move your hips side to side to neutralize from that big back bend. Whenever you feel ready, all the way down into a forward fold, you guys. Good work. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And just crawl your hands forward until you're in a plank pose again. And if you don't like having your feet wide, you can walk them in. So plank or modified plank. Inhale, push the ground away. Exhale, slowly lower. Back bend of your choice. Maybe do something different than you've done the other 2 times. Maybe not. Totally up to you. And then sit back into child's pose when you're ready. An invitation this time, if it would feel good, to just turn your palms up to face the sky. So that might mean you bend your elbows a lot. Just let your arms really relax. So rather than reaching forward, you're kind of just letting everything be soft. Palms up, elbows bent. If you don't like that, you don't have to do it. downward facing dog pose. All right. Let's take our right leg to the sky, inhale. Exhale, step your right foot forward, low lunge. You know, the first time we're on our feet. Well, I guess we stood at the back of our mat. Okay, anyway, crescent lunge, rise. So take your time, strong legs. Hug in with your inner thighs, pull energetically, front hip back, back hip forward. Lift your heart, maybe lift your gaze. Feel your breath, feel your body. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, bring your hands to your front thigh, lean forward. Draw your belly button back towards your spine. So almost like you're in spinal flexion, like you're rounding your low back a little bit. Lean forward, and when you're ready, float your back foot up, warrior three variation. So press into your front thigh. It's like you're in a halfway lift. Pull your right hip back, squeeze your inner thighs. Back leg strong, back foot active. If you want to add some arms, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to keep my hands on my thighs. My hands on my thigh. Take about 2 more breaths. And then see if you can land back in crescent lunge. So left toe step back and arms reach up. If that didn't happen beautifully and gracefully, no biggie. Take one more inhale. Exhale, open up to a warrior 2. So back heel pivots down and open your arms up, open your hips up. Right knee is tracking towards your pinky toe. Shoulders stacked over your hips. Next time you breathe in, move towards side angle. So reach forward, reach, reach, reach. When you can't reach any further, only thing that has to really change is your arms. Right arm towards the ground, left towards the sky, or right elbow to right thigh. Or maybe left arm forward. So you choose what feels best in your body. You can take a half or a full bind. Keep your strong feet rooting down. So grounding down. Your heart opening, your hips opening, breath moving, slow, steady. And then from here, only if you want, so you're welcome to stay here if you'd rather, but we're moving into a balancing half moon. So I'm gonna bring left hand to left hip, reach my right hand forward. You can use a block if you've got one. Back leg floats up, back foot active. Maybe left arm to the sky. Where's your breath? Can you still feel it? Is it helping you or is it fighting with you? So we want to figure out how can we support ourselves with our breath rather than fighting against it. Take about 2 more wherever you're at. We're going to land back in a warrior 2. So bend your front knee as you step your left foot back. Straighten your front leg. Parallel your feet. So all of your toes are now facing the long edge of your mat. Arms to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, slow dive, hinge at your hips all the way down, fold. You choose where you want to go for about 5 to 7 rounds of breath. I'm glad to see that Leah joined us, yay. You're welcome to exhale out your mouth. Next time you breathe in, let's come back to a halfway lift position, fingertips down. So bend your knees if you need to and walk your hands forward. So come into a low lunge. Now listen, from low lunge, 3-legged down dog, take your right leg back and up. Open your right hip, bend your right knee. So your right hip now is stacking on top of left. You can choose to stay right here or one more inhale here. Exhale, right knee, left elbow, get as close as you can. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, right knee, right elbow, or aim for your armpit. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Open your hip. Now this time the invitation, only if you want to, is to flip your dog, right? Cholas come down behind you. And then reach your right arm forward, open your heart. Where's your breath? Can you still feel it? Can you still hear it? Last couple. And then regular downward facing dog pose. Walk it out. And then either choose to find your way into child's pose by moving through a vinyasa, or just set your knees down and sit back into child's pose when you're ready. Just notice, feel your breath. Maybe a couple open mouth sighs. Downward facing dog, take it back. Alrighty, inhale your left leg back and up. Exhale as soft as you can, step your left foot forward, low lunge. And then crescent lunge, rise up slowly, intentionally, and settle in. So strong legs. Left hip draws back, right hip draws forward energetically. Little tone in your belly supports low back. Lift your heart, maybe even gaze up. So feel into your expression of this posture today. Feel into your own energetic being. Feel your big, slow, deep breaths flowing through you. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, hands come to your front thigh. Lean forward, navel to spine. So puff up your low back. I don't want spinal extension. Extension is like a back bend. Don't want that because it's really hard to engage your core while you're in a back bend. So I want it almost to feel like you're rounding your low back. Draw navel to spine. Feel your core engaged. Then float your back foot off the ground. I see so many people in spinal extension when they're going into warrior 3, and it's really hard to balance. When you're in that back bend position, you can't connect to your core nearly as easily. So feel your core here. Inner thighs face each other. Press back with your back foot, like you're stomping it onto an invisible wall behind you. Feel that strong, straight, powerful line of energy from the crown of your head back to your heel. 2 more breaths. If you want to add arms, add arms. We'll come back into a crescent lunge position, so see if you can land softly maybe. Be playful. One more inhale once you're in crescent. Good job. And open it up, warrior 2, back heel pivots down, arms open up. Let your hips open up. Feel your front knee tracking open towards your pinky toe. So don't let it collapse inward. That butt cheek is wrapping underneath. Reach forward, 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 and side angle pose. Your variation, left elbow to left thigh. Left hand to a block or the ground, right arm up or forward or behind you. Feel into your personal expression on this side. Doesn't have to match what you did on the other side. It can, but doesn't have to. Take about 2 more rounds in side angle posture. If you want to stay, you can stay. Otherwise, we'll move into balancing half moon pose. So I'm bringing right hand to hip as I transition. Left hand reaches forward. Maybe you've got a block underneath left hand. Right leg floats up. Hips stay open. Heart stays open. Everything stays open. Back leg powerful and strong. So if it feels like your back leg weighs 1,000,000 pounds, it's probably because you're not engaging the muscles in it. So use your strong back leg. Maybe your right arm is reaching up. So variations welcome. Last couple of breaths. See if you can land in a warrior 2. So once you've landed, make any adjustments needed. And then straighten your front leg, parallel your feet. Take your arms to the sky, breathe in. Exhale, dive down into your wide-legged forward fold, and once again, do anything you want to do here. Anything your body would like. You can get really creative, especially since you're at home. Do anything you want, no judgment. Last couple breaths, exhale out your mouth if you want to. Halfway lift, fingertips down. Walk your hands to the top of your space, rotate your toes forward, low lunge. From low lunge, three-legged down dog, so take your left leg back and up and open up your left hip, bend your left knee. So left hip is stacking on top of your right hip. Squeeze your outer left butt cheek. One more inhale, stay if you want, otherwise exhale, left knee, right elbow. Inhale, take it back up. Exhale, left knee, left elbow, or even your armpit as high as you can get. Inhale, take it back up, open your hip, and this time, invitation to flip it. So that foot comes down, open your heart, open the front of your hips, breathe down into your belly, back muscles strong, hugging around your spine. Last round. And then meet back in regular down dog, walk it out. From your down dog, you can either move through a vinyasa, find your way into child's pose, or just set your knees down and sit back. Child's pose. Take a moment, feel, notice, observe. Downward facing dog. All right. Inhale your right leg high. And exhale, pigeon pose, right shin forward, body comes down gently. So if you'd rather take this in a seat or on your back, feel free. Otherwise, take a moment to find the structure. So just like crescent lunge, we want to hug in, front hip draws back, back hip draws forward, and we keep that as we bow. So as you're bowing forward, your heart comes forward and down, your right butt cheek is pulling back and up. For a lot of people, they feel really weird, kind of feeling like they're engaging muscles when they're also stretching muscles. Like it's like, how can I relax and engage at the same time? So I like to explain it. It's like you can make a fist with your hand, right? And you can be really, really, really tight, squeezing that fist so much that you're getting so tired. Or you can make that fist, really strong fist, keep the structure, keep everything the same. Nobody outside of you will know that it weakens or know that it softens. I shouldn't say weakens, but then just kind of soften your fingers within it and soften the outer shell of it. You really can't tell a difference if you're looking at it, unless it's just shaking because you're trying so hard. So it's the same thing in pigeon. You're finding the structure, you're creating the integrity of the pose. And then you're letting go into it, you're softening around it. Take about 5 more breaths. And then last round, maybe a big open mouth sigh. Lift back up. Plant your hands. Take it all the way back to three-legged dog. Give your right leg a nice little shaky. Whenever you're ready, set your right foot back on the ground. Walk it out. Pedal it out. All right, I'm throwing this in for a little extra core work. So from your down dog, rock forward to a high plank position. And from high plank position, roll onto your outer right foot. So side plank, if you want to come down to your right knee, totally fine. Side plank, Vashisthasana, lift your hips high. Maybe reach your left arm forward or float your left leg up I should say. So your variation, your expression, feet can be stacked or staggered or any other variation you want to take with your legs. Take one more deep breath. Now listen, bring your left forearm down, bring your right forearm down, forearm plank. So strong arms, elbows about shoulder width distance apart, forearms parallel, or make a tripod with your hands. Navel to spine. Breathe into your back body. Hold here. Squeeze through the fronts of your thighs. Hold here. 3 more breaths. Keep the back of your neck long. Keep the sides of your neck long. If you shake, that's okay. Let yourself shake. Hold here for 3, 2, 1. Knees down. Untuck your toes. Sphinx pose. Stretch your front body. Maybe even let your head move from side to side, or even roll forward. And when you're ready, friends, downward facing dog, however you want to get there. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, pigeon pose, left shin forward, body comes down gently. Find integrity, find strength structure first. And then start to settle in. Take it on your back or in a seat if you prefer, of course, please. Breathe. Activate your left toes like you're trying to spread them out. Think about 5 more breaths. Last couple rounds, maybe sigh out your mouth. And as you feel somewhat even on both sides, start to work your way back to your 3-legged down dog. And then eventually regular down dog. Eventually just walking it out one last time. All that length and space. From down dog next, inhale, rock forward, high plank position. From high plank, side plank, left hand and outer left foot are your base. Right arm up. Left knee can of course come down to modify if you want to. Find your own variation, so perhaps right arm forward and or right leg could float up, or any other leg variation you want to take. Feel your strong left side obliques working. Lift your hips really, really high. Try not to strain through your face. Last big, huge breath. Slowly, slowly, right forearm down. Left forearm down. Forearm plank. Hold here, breathe here. Back of your neck long. Breathe into your side bodies. Draw your belly button in and up. Breathe into your back body. Squeeze through the fronts of your thighs. Soften your facial muscles. Take 3 more breaths. If you're shaking, that's okay. Let yourself shake. One more inhale. As you exhale, set your knees down, untuck your toes. Sphinx, lift your heart, stretch your front body. So draw your navel in and up and reach your tailbone down towards your heels so this doesn't hurt your low back. Crunch your low back at all. And then if it feels good, you can move your head a little bit side to side or circle it around. And then guess what? From here, all we're gonna do is roll over onto our back. So I'm just rolling over. If you want to adjust and be facing the other direction at home, go for it. But eventually just resting on your back. And full body stretch. So arms long, legs long. And as best you are able to, just relax in this position. So some of you may need to bend your elbows and your feet will probably flop out to the sides. That's okay. Just relax with a long body. Breathe all the way down to your belly. Notice whatever there is to notice. Keeping your body long and relaxed for the most part. Scoot both of your feet over to the left corner of your mat. So go over to the left corner, scoot your hips to the right long edge, and then hands to the left corner of your mat. So it's like you're making a banana shape with your body. And you might cross your ankles one on top of the other. You can play with which ankle you like better on top. You might also just gently grab your right wrist with your left hand. Try not to lift your right hip or your right shoulder up if possible. So if you have to lift your right shoulder off the ground to grab hold of your wrist, then don't grab your wrist. So just relaxing in this kind of banana shape or crescent shape. Breathe into your right side. Notice what feels good and what might not feel good here. And then we're just gonna switch. So everything switches to the other side. So your feet go to the right corner, hips go to the left edge, hands go to the right corner. And same options, cross your ankles, grab your wrists, keep the backs of your shoulders, backs of both hips down if at all possible. And then slowly, friends, just start to find your way back to a neutral position. And actually, eventually we'll just hug our knees in. So if it's easier, somehow maneuver into a little ball, we can get back to neutral and go for it. So hug your knees in eventually and just rock side to side. Let your knees fall, both of your knees to the right side, left arm extends out to the left for a nice supine spinal twist. And then whenever you're ready, just find your way to the other side. After you've gone to both sides, back to center for a happy baby pose. Just gonna rock it out. If there are any other poses or stretches or movements you want to take, feel free. And then just start to move into your final relaxation, your Shavasana. You can, at this point, let your breath just become effortless. Let your body take over. Let your body breathe you. So our breath is the only part of our autonomic nervous system, the part of our nervous system that everything else just happens without us doing anything consciously, including our breath most of the time, but we can also become aware of our breath and control our breath. So it's really cool. I think our breath is this really cool way to connect with our bodies and especially our nervous system, to calm our nervous system, to regulate it. So use that as a tool. At this point, just let your breath be effortless. Let your body take over. Let your autonomic nervous system take over. Just let it kind of fade into the background, but you're still aware of it. And I will read to you as you just kind of drift off into your Shavasana for these last couple moments. This is a little poem by Cleo Wade. It's called It Gets Better. You will not have the blues forever. Forever is the only thing that lasts forever. When the night sky falls upon you, look up at her. See the darkness and the vastness of her blues. Hold your eyes steady on her. Watch the sun sneak in. See how even she, the great big sky, changes with the new day. This too shall pass. Just a reminder that everything is temporary. This moment is temporary. So be in it, soak it in. Whatever's there, just let it be there, not trying to change it. And it is 1 minute after the hour, so if you need to go, I understand. But if you can stay a couple more minutes, I'll bring you out of Shavasana in just about 2 minutes. You will not have the blues forever. Forever is the only thing that lasts forever. Take a deep breath in. And let it go. And just slowly begin to come back into your physical body. Start to wiggle. Start to maybe even give yourself a little bit of a self massage. Massage your temples or your forehead or your jaw. Might even feel good to open your mouth and kind of slide your jaw side to side a little bit. Release. And then eventually roll to one side, fetal position. Take a moment and think of this as a moment for integration, just to let everything settle, soak in, absorb. Maybe there's some way you even visualize that. Use your arms to guide yourself up into seated meditation, just to close. So sitting up with your eyes closed and your hands gathered at your heart. Notice how you feel. Bow your head to your heart and acknowledge yourself for showing up for practice today. Taking time to be with yourself, to connect in a much deeper way than the average person out there does. Seems so normal to all of us, but really it's not the norm. So good job. Thank you so much for showing up, letting me guide you. Namaste. Thank you, friends. Good to have you back.
Thank you. So glad you're back. That was great.
Good. Glad you enjoyed.
Thanks, Katie.
You're so welcome. Good to see you, Leah. Thanks for joining.
You. That was great.
Thank you. See you next week, my friends. Love yas.